This is actually basically all of armor, not just chainmail, but chainmail is my focus. But it does kind of go over, because chainmail was the focus of armor for most of its existence. We have to kind of get into why crew was created to be able to figure out what it was. The beginning of armor is lamellar. Lamellar literally is just layers and layers of leather in different ways. This one is actually kind of funky because it's sort of wrong. All those little plates should be going from the sword arm down across, so that if someone else hits you with a sword while you're wearing it, it will have a tendency to slide along and just leave the body without having it get caught or impacted. So on a horse, everything would be set the opposite direction, so that it would go up instead of down. All the pieces would be layered so that the last piece sticking up would be on this shoulder. It would start overlapping this from your leg.
Okay, so that's sort of like a judo technique. It's deflecting rather than stopping.
Well, judo states that, but it's all fighting technique. Deflecting is one of the major points of armor, because everyone making armor notices that you can't just take a blow. Okay. Nothing's strong enough to take all of the impact of a blow. Gotcha. So if I deflect it, it's going to save me a lot of work in rebuilding my armor later.
Okay.
So this one is the Greek version. This is the everybody else version, and then eventually people start putting metal plates together. But that's really kind of a niche thing, and not everybody really did that.
Would that reduce the weight as well by focusing on the deflection rather than stopping?
Yes, especially since when they first started here, metallurgy is crap.
Okay.
So to get a solid piece of metal that's not going to bend or break, it has to be really thick, because your quality control is really non-existent. So to make little plates works because you can just redo the little plate that doesn't turn out. If you're making a big plate and it doesn't turn out over and over, you've wasted so much time. It's not worth making a big plate anymore. But obviously leather is always going to be able to be more consistent, because leather is, the cows are always going to be roughly the same thickness.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had one more question for you. What does lamellar mean? Is that French?
Armor, it's Greek. It just
Greek.
means that armor. It literally, if you were going to Google it, it's going to be this armor here.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's just layers and layers of leather, and they reuse the same word for this too. This is also called lamellar. This is usually called European lamellar and Greek lamellar, and then this is lamellar and metal. That's just literally, it just means layers and layers of leather.
Okay.
As far as what it's used for, I don't know the actual definition meaning, but it's used to mean layers of leather to make armor.
Gotcha.
Okay, so with that in mind, deflection in mind, we start with chainmail. Chainmail is old. The Celts, 350, 300 BC, it shows up. That armor is so old, it shows up almost instantaneously in the European fashion. This is European style. Go ahead and pass that around. European style is this pattern. It's called 4-in-1. Because you take 4 little jump rings, these are called, and you attach them to one. You can see it in this image really well, where they got the mesh together. You can see it in the hands-on versions really well. If you got that one, don't pay attention to the one that's loose right now. I'll get to that one. The top one is what you're looking at, where it's nice and tight. That's European 4-in-1. And it kind of overwhelms. Whenever it shows up someplace, whatever pattern you were using, you stop using it and use this pattern. It's a better pattern. It is a lot of meticulous, time-consuming work, but it's very, very effective. The ability to make this covers all of Europe and Scandinavia and all of these things. So, for instance, the Viking families wood. I think I actually have a picture of that one too. Okay, so also, by the way, it was called mail, chainmail, finally, chainmail. It's got a lot of names, and people who are mean about it will say it has to be mail, or or you're being wrong. But honestly, everybody calls it chainmail. Anybody who is just these historians who get grumpy about it. But it covered your entire body when it was done properly. And so, for instance, the coif, which is the top piece, he's not wearing a proper coif because it doesn't have a face mask. It's not. Hollywood wants you to not always cover your face because these actors want to have face time. But honestly, your face is kind of important. You don't want to lose your nose or your teeth or your cheekbones because there's an artery running here, you'll die. So you have a face part. And I have an army cap and this, and if you want to put it on, please do so. But I'm going to do it first to show you roughly why is this not? Okay. There it is. Stupid nut. Whatever. It's not going to go on with that. I'm not doing that, is it? Nope.
You want me to?
Would you mind on that? I'm trying to take that out. But you wear something underneath. You wear leather, or you wear fabric underneath anything, no matter what. But most of all, what you'd actually wear is a piece of what they called is a gambeson in France, and it's just a padded shirt. Thank you. The padded shirt works with the chainmail to make it so that you can take a pretty good hit without having it so you feel anything, because chainmail is designed to deflect things. Okay, let's put on the coif. And
sorry, that's spelled C-O-I-F?
yeah,
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you.
coif. Then your hallmark is your shirt that has a partial dress, and your hallmark ends with gloves. The end of a hallmark isn't open about half the time. Sometimes it is, like you can see here where it is open. But most of these guys here, they'll have gloves, or some of them will actually have this piece. And that's the end of the sleeve. It actually ends in the glove. So you have your entire body covered in it with a little bit of padding underneath so that if you get hit, you don't feel it. Let's see if I can get this one attached.
How can you see through that?
Give me a second, I'll show you. That's what I'm putting in there.
If your head is the right size, he'll let you put that on.
Yeah, you're more than happy to do it.
Fortunately, my head is too big.
Yeah.
That's why I shave my head, is to try to get into chainmail. Doesn't work very well, though.
Well, that is actually why Romans would shave their beards, because beards catching this stuff, which is why you end up with people wearing goatees, because that way it doesn't catch as much. And that's where that started. It's also where it started for the, a lot of the Celts would shave back their head to here, so that they could be able to wear lots of chainmail without it bothering them. The other hook should be right here. Problem is I did this with a link instead of with a proper hook. But so it's just, I see just a little strip of light. I just see a little strip. And because I just see this little strip, I'm fine. I don't notice any difference in it doesn't cover any of my vision. I just see this at the bottom of my vision. It doesn't interfere with what I see. So even though it's covering my face, and I would actually have a hood on to cover this part, but it's covering my face, it's protecting me entirely. There's nothing that's not got a little bit of chainmail, because if I get an impact, it stops it. Last time I had a big old knife, but it would be dangerous at this time of day to have people walking with it, but all I've got is a chainmail on, it still won't hit my neck. It doesn't hurt. It's got a point on it. It's not dull, but it can get in, it can't get in because the chainmail blocks it. So even if it hits me in the face, it's gonna deflect it enough. And the nice thing about chainmail is it always deflects. No matter what angle I'm at, it's gonna most likely, if it's a blade, it's gonna roll. The links are gonna roll and spin independently of each other, so that deflection, I don't have to build it for a cavalryman, build it for an infantryman. I can go from cavalry to infantry without having to worry about having different armor, because all of it's gonna spin. Now it's not gonna spin as much on the head because the hood lines up this way versus lining up, so body would line up this way, the hood lines up this way because I need to rotate my neck. Because the armor only bends, it doesn't bend this way, it only bends one way. They only give in one direction. They only give this way. So my body wants to bend this way, and my hood wants to bend this way. So it's going to be in this direction, and the body is going to be in the other direction. That's improper. That's modern, and it's garbage. You would have it hanging straight. Now, I have pictures to prove that it's garbage, but trust me, hanging straight down, that's going to protect you. Hanging this way, you're not going to be able to move properly, so it won't protect you. Taking you off is way